more Americans now die every year from a drug overdose than in car accidents.
And numbers from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show nearly 29,000 people died from an opioid overdose in 2014.
But today, the Obama administration announced a plan to fight back against what is being called an epidemic. News 8's Kyle Dimke is live in our newsroom tonight to explain the proposal. Kyle?
Mike and Martha, this is all part of the president's fiscal year 2017 budget. He's proposing more than $1 billion in new funding to address heroin and prescription drug abuse in America. It's a two-pronged approach, that one local addiction specialist says could really go a long way. Executive Director of Cooley Council on Addictions in La Crosse, Cheryl Hancock, says an addiction to opioids or heroin is a disease.
It is a disease just as diabetes is a disease, just as epilepsy is a disease of the brain. It is a disease and it has been identified as such.
She says it's a disease that science has proven is almost impossible to overcome without treatment. But treatment is expensive. And that's one of the reasons so many Americans aren't able to get the help they need.
Recently we found that 2.2 million people who need treatment for opioid use disorder exist. Only about 1 million are receiving it.
President Obama's budget proposal will expand access to treatment for heroin users and prescription drug abuse. It would also invest in prescription drug monitoring programs in all 50 states, as well as improve the availability of the life-saving overdose reversal drug naloxone, or Narcan.
We're using our best evidence to build a response that reduces the prevalence of opioid use disorder, prevents opioid overdoses, and saves lives, and this funding is critical to these efforts.
Hancock says the Cooley region and Wisconsin, just like the rest of the United States, are seeing more and more overdose deaths due to prescription painkillers and heroin. But she says $1 billion could go a long way in reversing that trend.
Just providing the resources, I think, is the biggest thing.
Hancock says she's glad to see the president's proposal would also increase funding to help more people become substance abuse counselors, because something she says there is a great need for right now.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyle. Another part of the president's proposal is increased spending to fight against drug trafficking.
The White House says a majority of the heroin in America comes from Mexico, and it will be working with the Mexican government to prevent heroin from crossing the border into the U.S.